1,000-volt hand tools. Do you need them? And are they necessary? Let's look at the grips side to side. First up, we got the standard kind of series. This is the different trim levels, if you will. Got the standard grips here. You got the Journeyman series, and then you got the 1,000 volts. Quite a bit thicker. Now this is about as basic as it gets. This is the standard grips. When I was a first year HVAC student, my teacher told me a story about he was a volunteer firefighter. And what he told me made me run out and go purchase 1,000-volt tools almost the next day. This is what he said. He said when he takes pictures of the bodies, sometimes he encounters, one of the things that he notices, specifically on tradesmen, is that the exit wound of the electricity happens right here, because when you grab these handles, your hand kind of naturally contours around there. And what he said is that the electricity enters through here and exits through your hand here. Now, some were just catastrophic injuries, some of them were casualties. But the fact still remained. So at one point we were doing 1,000-volt spark igniters, and what he told me was the installation of a spark igniter is very specific because it's rated for the voltage. Kind of the same principle here, right? If you've got insulation that's not rated for the voltage, what happens is you get microscopic pinholes in the insulation, and slowly but surely, eventually, the electricity will make its way through your grips. Is that possible with such low voltage being 120? You know, I don't know, but made me run out and buy these as a first year student, I'll tell you that. Now, do you need 1,000-volt tools? Are they necessary? Some job sites require you to use a 1,000-volt screwdriver to knock out any hole in a panel or a box, whether or not it's energized. You're going to sign that paperwork during orientation of that job site. But quite simply put, if I'm installing something new, if I'm running my own Romex, if I'm installing a new circuit, or I'm kind of in like a rough stage of the project, or I've started that project rough stage and I'm finishing it, and I'm the only one that's been there, well then these are just fine. But I can tell you from experience, if you are troubleshooting, if you're a service technician and you're going to a strange place, if you're trying to do a make safe, which means you're pretty much demoing the building and they're trying to keep some of the wiring and you're trying to determine what's safe and what's not and identify things, or you're just really new with electricity and you've got a little bit extra money to spend, the 1,000 volts are a no-brainer. For me, I keep this set separate from all my other tools. They have their own tool bag. They get treated completely differently. And these are kind of my service tech troubleshooting hand tools. When I became a first year apprentice electrician, these proved their worth to me in spades. I was at my father-in-law's, retracing some wire. He'd recently bought a house. Long story short, I came across some phone line. Now, we were looking for a wire that was going underground, feeding a light for a tree. Never in 1,000 years did I think that there'd be 120 volts on that phone line, but something told me, Robert, stop what you're doing, go get your 1,000-volt set before you cut this wire. And you know the rest of the story from there. Completely blew out every stripping hole and just ruined my strippers. Now this is like 4th or 5th set, maybe even 6th set of 1,000-volt tools. You typically get these three in a set with 2 screwdrivers for $100. These are about $45 separate. That's why they look a little bit older. Rule of thumb here, if you see any of this white protruding through any portion of these, you throw them in the trash. If you want to check the quality of your cutting knives, you hold them up to the light or sun, if you're brave, to see if you've damaged the teeth. And the other rule of these, especially when you're troubleshooting, when you're in a strange place, make sure these are always in reach. Treat these kind of like a push stick on your table saw. Have all the protection you need within reach so there's no excuse not to use it. So after all that information, you tell me, are these a necessary tool? Because when you're a professional at your craft, you can't afford not to have these, if you ask me. Thanks for watching. 7 more.